talk about independent decision making. This will be a two-part video and interest in an intro to Adriana and independent decision making.
Meet Adriana. Adriana is a giver by nature, and she loves making her friends and family happy, even if that means ignoring what she wants or needs sometimes. She's currently living with her parents, who are rather traditional. Adriana is close with them, but she's been arguing a lot more with them recently. She is working hard as a waitress at a local diner. Lately, she's been feeling a bit lost and stuck, unsure where to go next. Adriana feels like life is passing her by as she watches her friends move on, get their own apartments, pursue their dreams, and form serious relationships. At this point in her life, she's got a lot of decisions to make, like how to make it on her own, decide what path to pursue for her work or career, figure out her complicated relationship with her longtime friend, just to name a few, which has been quite overwhelming. Adriana and I will work together to help build her confidence, foster independence, and navigate important life decisions.
Steam is coming out of our car again. I almost didn't make it back home from my shift at the diner. I guess the universe is telling me to get that second job already. I really need to get a better car.
Old Faithful is not so reliable anymore, huh? Listen, why don't you just apply to the bank like your sister? You see how well Lucia's doing there?
Here we go again. For the 100th time, I don't want to work at the bank. Why don't they get it? So, I've been stuck with this decision for months now. I have no idea what to do. They're my parents, you know, so I have to respect them. I feel like I can't or shouldn't go against what they want.
I can tell how much you respect your parents.
Yeah, and I usually just do what they say. For some reason, it feels different with this job. Just thinking about the bank makes me miserable already.
It's tough to disagree with your parents about job choices.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going back and forth about it a lot. Like, I want to be more independent and make up my own mind about stuff, but I'm not really sure how.
Making decisions on your own is definitely an important part of becoming more independent as an adult. It's also really challenging.
It feels really tough, but why is that?
It's a process that ultimately relies on you. And there are quite a few things that go into making decisions independently, like figuring out your goals, what you value and think is important in making that decision. Also, identifying options to choose from. Your emotions play a big role too.
Huh, I guess it's not as simple as I thought.
Right. And just like with any other skill, making decisions on your own will take practice, so you can feel more confident about doing it.
So, I guess my goal is to get a second job, to make some extra money, and get a better car. But I want to like the work too, to do something that matters to me.
Getting a second job is a great goal to go after. This actually moves us towards the next step in the process, figuring out your values or what's important to you in making this decision. To help get us going, here are some common values people consider when trying to make a similar decision.
Wait, how do I balance all of these values? My parents want me to work at the bank, but it's just not my thing. But I also don't want to disrespect my parents by going against what they want. I was taught to never disrespect my elders.
I totally get that.
Having good relationships and respecting my family are way more important than a job. I guess I'm going to the bank after all.
Before making a final decision, I wonder if you have considered all of the values that are important to you.
Nothing's more important than family, though, right?
Absolutely. Family is really important. And you can have multiple values guide you through these decisions.
I don't know. I haven't really thought too much about what I want.
Right. It can be super easy to forget that your wishes are important to guide you too, not just your parents' wishes.
What would I like to do? Well, helping others has always been a huge part of who I am. I've been thinking for a while about doing something in healthcare. Maybe like a receptionist gig? My friend Gina keeps telling me how much she loves working at the hospital. But I didn't get very far with that option.
What got in the way?
Well, every time I thought about applying, I got really nervous. What if I don't have enough experience for it? What if they just reject my application? That would be a major bummer. So I kind of just stopped thinking about it.
What would you say is the chance that they'll reject your application?
80%?
So there's a 20% chance they might actually accept your application?
I guess so. I never really focused much on that part. I kept getting anxious just thinking about that option. Because the bank option feels safer, Lucia's been doing it, so I think I could do it too. Plus, nobody in our family's been in healthcare.
I can see why the healthcare job brings up anxiety. That's the unbeaten path filled with uncertainty. The thing about anxiety is it can block us from even considering important and meaningful paths. That's why it's so important to notice any emotions that are coming up in this decision-making process. The question is, do you want anxiety to be in the driver's seat and control where you're going?
No way. In fact, being courageous is an important value for me too. It jumped out at me when you showed me the list of values earlier. I'm passionate about helping others too. So yeah, let's keep the healthcare job on the table. I feel like that's what I would really want to do.
Great. Is there any other type of job you think might be a good fit for you?
I've tossed around a few other options, but I think healthcare is just the best fit for me.
Got it.
But what do I do from here? These values pull me in totally different directions. Either healthcare, which is what I want, or the banking job, which is what my parents want.
That push and pull feeling you just described often happens when you start to branch off and become more independent. As you find your own footing, you'll come across situations and environments that are different from your parents' experience.
Seriously, sometimes I think my parents and I live on different planets.
I bet. It's common to start forming your own set of values, what matters most to you, which may differ from your parents' and previous generations' values. All young adults go through this process, and it's definitely not an easy one.
Is that why I feel so torn? Come to think of it, my mom loves to tell stories about how she disagreed with my abuelos sometimes.
Right. There's never a perfect match between parents and kids on values or decisions. Getting them to align can be quite hard, especially when there are cultural values at play.
It definitely feels easier to not rock the boat and just go along with what my parents want.
How would that make you feel?
Less anxious, I think, at least for now.
Right. Doing what your parents want may feel easier in the moment. What happens in the long term, though, in a year or two? Does it move the needle towards what you truly want to do?
Not really. I'd probably feel miserable at the bank. I'd regret it. Like I let myself down and didn't follow something I really wanted. I feel stuck between a rock and a hard place, going after what I want or disrespecting my parents.
Let's see if we can figure out a middle ground here. Is there a way to show respect for your parents and go for the job you want? How do people show respect to each other in your family?
I guess it also matters how I go about it, like how I talk to them about what's important to me. The tone matters a lot, so I can show them that I'm not disrespecting them. Wait, I don't think I ever actually told them I'd wanted to go into healthcare. I was too afraid to put that on the table. But maybe they'd understand.
Absolutely. It can be really helpful to take others' opinions into account. At the same time, whose decision will it ultimately be?
I guess mine. Okay, that feels like a lot of pressure, Caroline.
Understandably so. Making big decisions for yourself is new, so that can feel a bit...
Scary? Yeah, because who knows? What if I make the wrong decision? If I screw up, it's totally on me, right? Can't blame anyone else.
Nope. And that can feel scary because you'll be responsible for the outcome of your decision. On the other hand, you'll get to see that you can cope with that outcome no matter what happens.
Oh, well, making my own decisions does have a nice ring to it, especially if that means I can finally move forward from feeling so stuck. Who knows? Maybe I'll become a master decision maker in no time. It doesn't quite have the same ring as master cooker, but I'll tackle one thing at a time.
Yes, just give yourself time and a bit of compassion. Making decisions is tough, and it takes a lot of practice.
Okay, let's see how much I got in tips today. This is not going to cut it for buying something better than Old Faithful. All right, I guess it's time to just apply to work at Lucia's bank. Wait, no, get out of my comfort zone. Think about what's important to me. Right. Hey, Gina, are you free right now? I'd love to chat some more about your gig at the hospital.